Angela Marie Henderson was my mother. But as a school teacher and educator, Mama Angie was a mentor and role model to many. One of the things I remember her telling me over and over was to never stop learning. She said nothing was more powerful than knowledge and legacy. 30 years ago, in February of 1993, we lost Mama Angie to stomach cancer. She was 38 at the time. This year, on September 17th, Mama Angie would have been 69 years old. At Angela Marie Publishing, we consider the 17th a holiday. We call it A&P Day. And this year, we continue to honor Mama Angie by giving back.
A&P Day 2023, 17 days of 17% off. Starting September 17th through October 3rd, save big on our entire catalog of books, merchandise, and publishing services. Featuring our newest paperback release, Sit in Yo Shh, the 30-day guided journal written by Miss Devin Elise. Seasons 1 and 2 of the Art of Cheating episodes book series by Holly Ride. The Healing Collection, our exclusive merch series promoting the Blacked Out Couch podcast. And, backed by popular demand, the I Am t-shirt series. Also including our publishing services. That's right. For any authors looking to publish, schedule a free consultation by October 3rd and receive 17% off your publishing service needs. A&P Day 2023, honoring the legacy of the late Angela Marie Henderson. September 17th through October 3rd, visit our website at www.angelamariepublishing.com to save now. The Blacked Out Couch.
All right, man. Can everybody hear me? I see Clack down there. What's up, Clack?
Yeah.
Up on the stage, man. See if we can get Clack up here, man. So listen,
What it do?
what's that? What's good, boy?
Man, you got it, man.
What up, Clark?
What's up with it, GT?
You family, you.
Just sitting up here chilling with my mom.
That's good.
What's up, man? Yeah. Well, listen, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in with us tonight, man, for this unpacking of episode 9. So for anybody that hasn't had a chance to check out the last episode featuring the brothers, episode 9, we did a subject matter centered around judging our vices. So the topic was don't judge our vices, and it got kind of hectic to say the least. So Make sure you check that out on YouTube, Spotify, all of the streaming platforms. Tonight, man, as always, with Unpacking, we like to open it up in a live session. Give us, the panel members, the opportunity to maybe touch on some things that maybe we didn't think about that night. And then also just get some engagement from our audience. So, man, first, before I really get started, man, I just want to circle back around. I know I asked a couple of y'all this, what's going on. But how's everybody doing, man? How's everybody's family? What's y'all week been looking like?
Everything's been well. I ain't hold on. Wait a
We in the safe space, man. Come on, keep it real with it.
minute. Yeah, I know. I just got to get to where I can be in one. So, hold up.
Yeah,
It I'll
Yeah,
speak on it. It been a. Go
no,
ahead, go ahead,
no,
Tom.
go ahead. No, I mean, I'm about to. I'm just about to go and head upstairs and give my mom her TV time.
Gotcha.
And here, mom, here go the remote. No, you good. Yeah, fellas. Well, um, everything's going good. I would say, like me personally, you know what I mean. I definitely been in. To be honest, hey, my daughter's in here asleep. Hold on, let me go in the office. House full, boy. But I've been I would say that over the past I was telling y'all, man, I've been needing to hop in there with y'all for real because man, it's like, man, me and my wife been going through it, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's been a big big deal, man, for over the past year. And I don't like to point fingers or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, how can I say this? I would say that in order for things to work, especially as in a partnership, everybody, both parties have to be able to be held accountable, and self improvement is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and when it comes to self improvement, you know, um, that's what I've been on. So I would say I'm in a good space with that. Today marked the third day that I ain't smoked, man. I usually smoke every day. Sometimes I'll put it down for if I do put it down, it don't be like for no days. It'll be like I'm putting it down, either I'm doing it every day. It don't even be no in between with me. Um, but today was my third week, mark my third week, and then I'm back working out. I got my kids up at 5 in the morning before school. They train, I'm training them. I've been training my clients. Um, Financially, things is like super expensive out here. So, I'm an entrepreneur. My wife worked from home. So that's been a little pressure as well, because it's just I'm always thinking, what I mean, what's the next move? But things are really opening up, man. I done got on my knees more, start praying. Just realizing that, it's only so much I control. And
yeah,
I've also been in a space of trying to help people too, because I'm big on nutrition, big on what it's doing to our peoples and our family members, and how our family members is dying. Like some people think, cancer, and man, I like my partner, my best friend dad died of cancer, man, probably about maybe 8 to 10 years ago, and he had throat cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I sat there and watched him go from a big swole dude, like muscular, to like a skinny frail stick. I watched him throw up in front of me, man. Like I just was going over to visit. You feel me? And I'm like, bro, um, so my auntie just died of cancer a few years back, and
Yeah, I just lost my pops to cancer, bro.
Yeah, man, and I'm sorry to hear that. I don't think I was able to tell you verbally, man. But I knew I talked to you when at a
Yeah,
time where you was able to,
for
when
sure.
things kind of calmed down. Um,
Appreciate you always, man.
yeah, and you take your time to grieve. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody put no date on it. So, and I know that that's why I wanted to get in. One of the topics we was going to talk about was nutrition, but we just didn't get around to it. Me and Holly was saying that was going to be something that we was going to talk about, but a lot of us think that that's a death sentence, man. I'm down there talking to my mother. My mother as soon as she got that vaccine, get a stent put in her heart. You know what I'm saying? So we
Mm.
against vaccinations and all this stuff in the house, man. We didn't did a lot of research on different things, man. And my mom won't listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Her ankles look like softballs right now. Like right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, is she on all these different medications? My mother ain't no more than 90 pounds. You know what I'm saying? She like 4'11", 90 pounds. She taking all these medications. You know what I'm saying? I just asked her 15 minutes ago. I said, Mom, are you interested in even changing your diet? Or do you feel like you so close to death, it don't matter? That's the question I just asked my mom.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of, well, I asked her was she interested in changing the diet. She said, I kind of am, and, kind of not. And I said, well, do you feel like, because you so close, you feel like you close to death, and that's why it don't matter? She was like, well, no, I don't feel like I'm close to death.
Are able to go out here and politic is what you call it, which is basically you're sitting on your ass. Because for you to be able to sit and watch YouTube videos all day and be on social media all day and all this, and you not bringing in no form or fashion of any type of income, like what what do you expect from me? You know,
Yo, who's that talking? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I'm confused. What's going on? What happened?
I don't know what happened. I don't know. Somebody it sound like somebody took over the mic. All right. Well, GT, did you want to share anything with us with the room on how you been?
Um, I was gonna, I was just sharing that,
The
it's
things,
been a real tough.
go ahead. Go ahead.
You back, Black?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you
but
now.
some,
Okay. I don't know what happened for a second. Um, I was talking. I don't know what the last thing y'all heard, but
Something happened, man. It sounded like somebody took over the mic or something, man. I started hearing a woman talk.
oh, okay, yeah, that
I
somebody
thought
did that.
somebody had took over.
Nah, nah, nah. We nah, that ain't happen. Not over here. But so basically, I'm just saying, man, I was just talking to my mother, you know what I'm saying, and my mother-in-law, I mean my grandma-in-law, she on dialysis, you know what I'm saying, and then my mom, she on these medications or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and I'm just, I be wanting to help people, man, and so I just then came to the decision that, man, look, I'm just gonna let my light shine, and hopefully I can help people through that, man, and just take the pressure off of me, son, for wanting to be so concerned about what other people are doing in their life, man. But I know that we've been so uneducated on what are the things that we've been consuming, and some people think that cancer is just random. If you get it, you get it. It's a death sentence, da 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 da, whatever, and and I know that ain't true, man.
Cancer is such a deadly killer, man. I think most of us have lost folks to cancer, man. At some point in time, man. I was just talking to some of the fellas, man. My mom's birthday was this past Sunday. And I lost her to stomach cancer, man, years and years ago. Been 30 years now. So, uh, I definitely, man, feel you. And that's why I wanted to, man. I really did want us to have an episode where we focused on nutrition and just speaking on that aspect. But, our schedules wasn't really matching. So it'll be something that I think that we'll circle back around for next season. Once we start the podcast back up again. Man, I definitely, man, my heart goes out, man. Prayers out to everybody, man, that may be dealing with those things. And I know Clack is difficult for you, man, with you being a nutritionist, man, because you've been preaching better dieting for a long time, man. And you know what, man? I'm gonna circle back around. I see brother Marcus is in, and I know GT wanted to maybe share with us, you know, what he's been going through, man. But that almost, man, when we talking about diet, that almost is right in line with tonight's topic and tonight's subject matter, man. When we talking about vices. You know, and I can,
Mm-hmm.
your mom's is probably saying that silently to herself, quit judging my vice. You know, so for a lot of us as black folks, I would say that the what we consume for a lot of us can be vices. So I'm gonna kick the first question off, man, and anybody can answer this in any order. But what would y'all say, man, are some of the most common vices in our community? Our community meaning black folks. What would y'all say is some of the most common vices?
Weed is one.
Yeah, I got that. I got that down pat. I got that down pat, man. We just had a conversation about that the other day, man. When you was talking to me about your strides that you're making, man, with putting the blunt down for right now, and just not something that I can see myself doing. So we'll circle back to that. I ain't gonna put the spotlight on myself, but
Right.
what else, man? What are some of the most common vices that we got in our community?
And by the way, I laid off blunts a few years ago. I'd be smoking on my bong, so I knew I tried to cut the tobacco part. You know what I'm saying? Tobacco leaf, it's a leaf. It got sugar in it, and that's why partially it's addictive. I
Mm,
just want to let you know that. That's why the taste of the blunt is always still there, and wanting to smoke it and roll it up in a blunt. So,
yeah,
but alcohol is one for sure.
mm,
Uh,
yeah.
the game. Well, I don't get. I mean, I just start naming them. That you know what I'm saying. Anybody else can
What you
jump
saying?
in
The
there.
game? You talking about the video game?
Yeah, the video game. It's definitely a vice.
Yeah. So okay.
It's definitely a vice. Uh,
What else?
let's see. We said weed, alcohol, video game. Uh, some people. I mean, sometimes I didn't caught myself binge watching like Netflix shows.
Okay. Binge
Like
watching.
just binge watching. Yeah, binge
TV.
watching.
TV. They used to tell us back in the
Yep.
day, you know what I'm saying? We was gonna go blind because we sitting in front of the TV for too long. So that's advice for us in our community. What else? These are some really good ones, man.
Man, sex.
Mm, there you go. Now we
Yeah.
talking. Now we talking. Yeah, you know, what I mean. I think and I got another question that I'm gonna ask here. If anybody else want to chime in, by all means, feel free to. But when you just said that, brother Joel, for me, man, and I said this in the episode that we just shot. Um, for me, man, pussy was my biggest vice throughout life, and I was telling the fellas, man, how I'm struggling as of late because I'm married now and I can't be out here fucking around like I used to, right?
Yeah.
Um, but for me personally, that was my biggest vice. That was my go-to vice, for me. Whenever I needed to let off some steam, whenever I was too stressed, whenever it was something that I needed to cope with, that was my most favorite vice. And
Mm-hmm.
what I said to the fellas was, I feel like that I'm not alone in that. I feel like it is something that a lot of us, and not even just talking about men, but I think black women as well have a certain level of hypersexuality in our community, and we use that as a vice. So that's actually going to be the subject of our next episode is focusing on the hypersexuality in our community. But definitely, man, like when you say that, man, I'm glad to hear that, man, because these are things that I think about, man, and definitely sex was one of me personally. That was one of my biggest vices, and I know a lot of folks like that. So definitely, man. What else? Don't let me and
Man,
Joel take over the conversation. Let's get some other folks speaking on this. Hold on. Somebody in the comments said drama.
yeah, I was about to. Hey, that's a good one. I was sure finna say that. Just being negative.
Drama. Yeah, well, you know what? I need some explanation. Can you give me
I'm
some
actually,
clarity on
I'm
that?
at, who said drama?
Mr. Mirror, I think Mr. Mirror was the one who, I'm gonna see if I can invite her on stage. But you said you understand that, Joe? Drama as a
Heck
vice?
yeah. Yeah, cause some people just they negative, man, and then they always wanna find somebody that got an ear to listen to their negativity to vent. And they feel like if they complain about it, then they really doing something about it. And so that's
Correct.
like, okay, all right, talk
Hi.
to us, sister.
I don't sound as cute as I normally do. I'm sick today. Sorry. Whatever. But anyway,
We don't go
um
off sounds anyway.
um but but definitely drama. It's like you said, if they're complaining about it, they're good. You're used to so often being the victim, and or you're used to stirring up trouble, or you're just simply an emotional masochist. That's kind of my issue. Like, I'll make a bad decision knowing good and damn well is bad. I'm just like, that's going to be a fun story later. Um, I mean, and Holly kind of knows me. I'm full of bad stories that are actually very entertaining. um, but but no, like, drama, I feel like is a vice. I couldn't speak, so you got sex away from me. But I'm like, it's sex, it's drama, it's a lack of accountability. I think those are all
You consider
things.
these vices.
I definitely think that those are vices because people are addicted to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a never ending cycle of foolishness to where, like, we'll pay more attention as a culture to something that's problematic as opposed to something that can be celebrated or just offer peace.
Mm,
That's deep.
mm,
So we just constantly set ourselves up for the same thing. Like, you'll see it. It's insatiable, you know what I mean? Like, even if you turn on your feed right now, we're all talking about, the papoose thing or whatever, or this and this. And it's constantly there. It's constantly there. But if your timeline was dead, it would be dead if it was just nothing but positives or anything else. You're like, damn, nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Like, that activates something in you where your ears perk up when it's foolishness, but not laughter.
mm,
That's an addictive situation.
mm. I can see that.
It's interesting that some of the things that we have named. Um, I'll ask another quick question, but I did want to dive into this a little bit more. But I'm gonna ask another question. So these vices that we've named so far, would y'all say that those are more common in one gender versus the other, men or women?
No, I would say, well, I'll say you would want to say sex, but there's enough women running around here with accidental babies that will say that that's both genders, right? Uh, so it's look, we gotta call a spade, right? They were all excited to do something.
Hey,
Uh, Look, I mean, look. So I think that that's just a person problem, right? Like, uh now the roots of them would be gender based, but I don't think that the issues are. You know what I mean? I think hypersexuality for men is rooted in your ability to prove your manhood, right? Like, it's one of the most base level ways to do it. Whereas for women, the root of their hypersexuality actually might be abuse based or survival, right? But they're still, I think they still have equal parts. The only thing that would give them a gender change is like the root of the vice.
Mm,
okay, so I'm gonna do this. Um, So for me, I've always thought of vices as habits, things that we do for coping mechanisms. Um, I have the definition of vice sitting in front of me, and there's a few actual different uses of the word. I'm gonna read all of them, and I want y'all to tell me which one of these most fit the way that we using the word. So it says vice, a moral depravity or corruption. Another definition is a moral fault or failing. Another definition is a habitual and usually trivial defect or shortcoming. There's another one that describes a vice as a blemish or a defect. Another definition says a physical imperfection, deformity, or taint. This one, I know this one doesn't apply. It says a character representing one of the vices in an English morality play. Um, and then there's two more. One of them says an abnormal behavior pattern in a domestic animal detrimental to its health or usefulness. And then the last definition of vice is sexual immorality. Out of those definitions that I read, are those any of those definitions fitting in the way that we use the word?
I honestly feel like the one that used the term animal, which is terrible, but I think that that applies more to how we view it.
I would agree. Would anybody else say otherwise? I'm gonna read it again. It says an abnormal behavior pattern in a domestic animal detrimental to its health or usefulness.
I agree. That's it right there.
That's the only way I've ever viewed it.
Could
Yeah,
it, could
that's
it,
it.
could it, could it be possible that we've been misusing this word as a society, as humanity? Because, um, to me, I thought of vices as you know, behaviors or habits, for coping mechanisms. I've always thought of it as that. Is it possible that maybe we've been misusing this though? Because that is the
I,
closest definition, but it's saying a domestic animal, right? Like,
well, I mean, but we are
wouldn't it just describe
domesticated
it?
animals. We're a mammal. The only
Oh,
thing,
but, I mean, normally when you look up these definitions and they talking about people, they describe people as people or humans. So this is the first time that I've seen something that I would consider a human behavior described as behavior from a domestic animal. So that's
okay, can
that's
I
just
say something that'll
interesting.
fuck you up a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't think it's surprising that that version of the term was dehumanized because we dehumanize people with vices. We dehumanize addicts and sex, driven people and everything else. All of those things are dehumanizing because all of a sudden those things are inherently evil and or soulless. So why not dehumanize that? I'm not actually surprised by that definition. That sounds about white.
Mm.
Mm.
And you just mean the way that society, the connotation of the word. Um, so I mean, like, in our episode we had one of the brothers that was on. He's actually he works in mental health. He's a clinician, so he spoke to us about vices, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, and the way that he put it, he said, vices. He said everything that we do can be considered coping mechanisms in some ways, but vices are more of the habits or the go-tos. And he said that when the things are done in moderation, they're not harming yourself or others, then they're healthy vices. But it's interesting to me that when I look up the actual, the Webster definition of the word, it doesn't speak about human behavior at all. So it's 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 just real interesting. Like Miss Amira put it, we do dehumanize folks for having vices, which was kind of the inspiration behind the show title. Don't judge my vices. We judge people for their vices. Where on one hand, some people might have vices that maybe we don't agree with or understand. But on the other hand, I've always believed that all humans have vices of some sort. Would anybody agree or disagree with that?
How we doing,
I
everyone? This is
agree that we have vices of some sort. Like mine's is going to Home Goods.
Yeah. Brother Marcus, you was chiming in. What's going on with you, brother Marcus?
Hey, how we doing, fam? So
Nah, I
just real
sorry.
quickly, I think everybody has vices. The the thing is, they become invisible, and the reason they become invisible because we do them so much that they're no more, something that they become a habit. And so, yeah, everybody got something. There's no one, regardless of your status, regardless of your position, regardless of your age. There's something, but it's just a matter of are we recognizing it or has it become so invisible, it's so ingrained in us that we don't think about it. We just do it out of habit.
Mm. That's why I believe that we all got vices. We all got things that we do to get by, right? That's another way that we can put it. We got things that we do to get through our days, to get through our nights. Some of those are habitual. And so I think the purpose of us kind of bringing this to light as far as the discussion is concerned is for us to kind of dispel some of those myths, to kind of dispel some of the negative connotations around things that we use to cope. So my next question will be just to bring it a little bit more personal. I know Miss Amira, she shared a few of her vices. I shared one of my old favorite ones. But what are some of the vices that folks in the room have to get by? And anybody can speak in any order on
Sleep.
that. We'll say that. What else?
I have a lot of the same vices as Clay. I mean, me personally, um, weed, game. Um,
Don
I
Julio.
don't even. I couldn't. Don Julio's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my vices are bad vices, but good for me,
In that order.
for my yeah, for my mental health.
Mhm. Hey,
Good evening,
I,
everyone. This is Princess here. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You can go ahead and go. I did not mean to cut you off.
oh no, welcome to the room. Ladies first. You got something to say?
Thank you. No, I was just gonna hop in and say mine is work. Even if it's not like a literal 9 to 5, I feel like I like to drown myself in productivity as if like my accomplishments can kind of erase any sort of like hurt that I'm feeling or mental unwellness that I might be going through. So mine is definitely like work and productivity.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is that all vices that people have not necessarily negative? Because I was going to say some people do indulge themselves in work. Some people indulge themselves like they doing their music. You know what I'm saying? Is a vice. You know what I mean? If you're an artist, so there are some things that that is considered a vice, but it's not necessarily a negative. Now, I guess it could be a negative if you indulged in it so much that you're ignoring different things like family or your partner or things of that nature.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's with anything. It should be done in moderation. Too much of anything, can be detrimental.
So I have a few minutes, but one of mine used to be drinking. I probably had a few of them throughout. Used to be drinking, but one that I could say now as a vice is trying to be a support for everyone. Does that make sense? You gotta be the one that help. It ain't gonna
Yeah,
operate if you're not there. like
yeah.
you're
It's,
that
it,
missing, like you're that missing piece.
some people would describe that as a hero complex.
I was
Yeah,
just about to say that.
yeah.
But
You
absolutely,
know,
I can definitely relate.
yeah, and it kind of, I guess you can say it come from your background for some, or really just having a heart to see people do well or happy, if you will. Some of that may also come from a God complex.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's one of mine. So um, it could be helpful, but at the same time, it could be harmful for yourself as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, food is definitely a vice.
Like you don't even eat that much food, man.
I mean, I guess if you talking about if you said for me, but I mean, but I'm just
That's what I said. I was trying to get everybody to get personal. Like, what's your vice? You know what I'm saying? You steady giving examples. I'm talking about what do you do? What you out there doing? Besides working out like you training for a Super Bowl match or something. You know what I'm saying?
hey,
Talk to us about what you do in the culture.
I mean, I would say, man, like, man, there was some time, man, in my day, man, where porn was a was a vice for me.
Yeah,
That's being honest.
yeah, for sure. For sure, I think that falls in line with the hypersexuality conversation as well, bro. So definitely, man. But you use that in the past tense. What are you doing now? Like in the present day?
Actually, man, I feel like I need one. To be honest with you, I feel like I've been fighting to to give me some more time, give myself something to have to be able to lean on, to kind of take my mind off of different things that I have going on, and I really ain't fun. Like, man, I'll be wanting to get on the game, I ain't got time. So I stopped smoking. You know what I mean? So I don't drink. Every now and then, my partner just flew in from Canada. He said he gonna be here tomorrow. He told me to come hang out with him. I'm sure I'll probably have a drink with him, but other than that, I don't be drinking. Um, and I don't know, man. I just like I'm. It's like I feel like I be needing one though. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest.
Hey, I'll tell you one of mine recently is sports betting.
Mm.
You said
Right.
sports betting?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. I play sports bets on a daily. But it's almost like if I don't, like, it's just one of my vices right now. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's one of them for me as well. So I guess you could say gambling.
I know
Yeah, that's the.
your
Yeah.
I know your parlays is looking real crazy with that Diggs news that just hit the sports line today.
My goodness, man. Listen, for sure.
I ain't mean
It's not.
I ain't mean to trigger you. I just when you said that I had to
Man,
think. I said, I know you a
listen.
Cowboys fan, man. Hold on.
Yeah, man. It's ugly, ugly, man. Let's not do that, Holly Rod.
My bad, my bad, my bad. So listen, man. Let me ask y'all this, man, because we spoke about vices and how they can be unhealthy if they're not done in moderation or with balance, right? What would y'all say? And I'd like to get as much feedback as I can on this. What would y'all say? And we asked this question during the episode. What would you say is the difference between a vice and a self care method, or are they the same?
I think they're the same. And just because self care doesn't look right for someone else, that's what's right for you, right? Like it, I really and personally views it as a self care situation. Like this is the only time I find peace or quiet in their head or joy or whatever. And to us, we're like, you are losing your rabbit ass mind. But for them, right then and there, you know what I mean? Like it works for them.
Okay, so she say it ain't no difference. Anybody else?
No, I
Actually,
like
yeah,
it.
I think. Go ahead, GT.
No, I was gonna say I like what Mr. Miller said. I agree. Um, it might not be right. It's what they say: different fortes for different displays. So what might not be right for one may be right for the other. So I highly agree with what she said.
Well, I will say that I did start. Like I said, I started. Not started, but I try to work out as much as possible. But I've been a little bit more serious about it, and I think that that's been a vice for me. That's definitely been a vice. So let me rephrase that, because it is a vice. But I looked at it at first. I didn't see it as a vice because I was looking at it more on the self care side of it. But it's a vice as well. Cause like when I'm working out, I got my mind. I got my mind like really on. Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my AirPod just went out. So I really got my mind focused on me and focus on bettering myself, and then pushing through pain, or you know what I'm saying, like I spent like 30 minutes yesterday just stretching, like going through each stretch for 2 minutes, holding it while I had like a 2 minute song on, right? And so I did, like, you know what I'm saying, I did 15 different stretches, you know what I'm saying? And I felt really good. Like it's to the point where I can't wait to get 30 minutes or so to myself again today, which is hard to find. But once I do, that's exactly what I'm gonna get back to working out and then do that again, you know? And because it felt so good, it felt peaceful, like it was quiet, you know what I mean? So, um, but yeah, that's why I see that the vice is also self care too.
Okay.
I think
Go
I'm
ahead, Princess.
gonna play devil's advocate here. While I do agree that vices and self care methods are subjective, I personally think they're different. I think that vices tend to lead someone down a path of toxicity or unhealthiness. And I think that self care is the opposite, in that it's more of a replenishment. Is there a thin line between the two? Absolutely. But I definitely think that, vices tend to be counterproductive to building you as a person. Whereas I think self care is intended to help build you or replenish you. So, like another vice that I have that probably isn't destructive to like the world, but it was definitely eating away at family time, eating away from entrepreneurial time, eating away from time for me to develop my intellect or to go work out or do something just to help better myself. I would binge watch Netflix for like 18 hours. Like, I kid you all not. It would start at like noon on a Saturday and run until like 7 in the morning Sunday. And then I'm so tired. I'm sleeping through the whole day and I want to talk to nobody. Now my whole sleep schedule is thrown off. And like, to me, that's a vice more than it is self care.
I agree. I agree, because that, based off the definition, now it didn't say, it didn't, the definition that you read, Holly, did not pertain to self care and positivity. It was more, destructive. You know what I mean? Kind of like habitual things that kind of work against, which work against yourself. Not as not not good for yourself. So I agree with what Princess, with who said that last? Was that Princess? I don't know the voices yet all like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's
yeah. So I agree with what Princess said.
So I'll chime in real quick. The when we had the episode, and like I said, I love having some of the mental health professionals on our panels, to be able to kind of give us insight from, a clinician standpoint. And what Brother Brian talked about, he said that it's what makes it self care versus a vice is the balance. If it's done in moderation, if it is taken away from other areas of life, as you were searching for that self peace, right, that inner peace. So the way that he explained it, he said that there is a very thin line, but that thin line is basically one of balance, something that you either do in moderation, where you still have a healthy balance with, your work, your family, your personal life, versus you're overdoing it. You're not being mindful of how long or how frequent you're doing it. And then that's where it becomes a vice versus self care. He say that he feels like, all vices can be self care if they're done in moderation and balance. So what would y'all say to that?
I'm a fan.
I
I'll say
understand it.
we talking more about coping mechanisms than vices. I think it's going to depend on one's mental state, and where they're at. Um, some people's mental state is in a lot better state than others, or some people are mentally stronger than the next person. So I think a lot of it is going to depend on the mental state of a person, and how that person copes with that mental state that they're currently in.
Yeah, I can see that. I think, and that's kind of the nature of what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about, just being aware of where we are with our mental health as a community. And I think that that's why conversations like this are super important, because it gives us a different perspective when we talk to different folks. I think that everybody is kind of had the same energy tonight with, what I do for self peace may not be something that works for you or works for the next person. I think that just we in a community where we all have to have something that we do to cope with life, period, right? Just getting through our days, getting through our nights. But I think that the thing that I keep circling back to is balance, right? But again, the whole concept and title of our episode was "Don't Judge My Vices." So, do is anybody in here willing to admit that we do judge people in our lives for some of the things they do to cope, whether it's subconsciously or directly?
Yep, I do. I do. This is gonna be very, I don't know, charged with what I say, but I judge people who use food and claim that they can't do better. People who say that they want to lose weight and just say they can't do it. To me, I judge it in that I see it as lack of discipline, and I know that that's wrong. But I also used to be obese. I used to be overweight. My husband can attest to this. He never saw it as obesity, but I was. I weighed almost 220 pounds. In 2018, I decided that I needed to kind of wake up and take accountability for the fact that this didn't just happen to me. I condoned any sort of behaviors, or I allowed certain things to, take my focus off of my wellness. And so I decided to literally exercise what I had at the time in self constraint, to change the way I thought about food, to allow myself to challenge my perspective on being active and really appreciate the body that I'm in. And so I guess because I went through that, I tend to judge others that say that they can't do it, even though I know that it's not right.
That's deep. I mean, you admitting that is pretty amazing. But it is deep because I was going to ask. I mean, like when you were talking, I was just thinking, like, for somebody that actually was on the other side, most of the time we kind of have empathy for those that haven't quite hit that breakthrough yet. But for you, you say that's one of the main things you judge people on. Brother Joel was talking about that before you joined us tonight, Princess. He was speaking on the nutrition aspect and the conversation he was having with his mother about changing her diet. And I know that's something that you probably can relate to as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And for those who don't know, I am an evangelist in church, and that's one of the things that I would criticize even the saints about is you look at so many other people and oh, why you can't stop smoking and oh, why you can't stop doing this, but most people in the church who preach scripture and Bible and say that they're saints can't even go 2 days without fasting, and they're so used to doing these. Oh, I'm going to do this Daniel fast where I can still have fruits and vegetables. Like, no, fasting is going without, right? Like, no food, no food, maybe water if you need medicine. But like, even the concept of telling people that you can't have, that you just see it in their body, like, nah, I can't do that. You're not even trying. So it's a struggle for me. It's a real struggle for me, and it's an area of growth that I know I need. We're all still works in progress. So y'all pray for me, but I do. I judge very harshly, and I try to combat with myself internally to be graceful um, to those. I do.
That's wild. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? You find yourself judging others, loved ones around you for the what some of the methods that they have. Okay, well I'll chime in. Princess was talking about her Netflix binge, um, I'll admit that was something that I judged her for, not because necessarily because of the binging. It was more so the content. Some of the things she was watching on Netflix, I just didn't understand why they would be or how they could be entertaining, and so I found myself judging her for that. But I did. I had to, and I spoke about this in the episode. It was something that I had to take a step back on, because there are certain things that I may do to find peace, that I don't want to be judged for. So I think it might be human nature for us. Like I said earlier, I think that we all have vices. We all have things that we do to demand inner peace. But I think it's also human nature for us to judge the next person for the things that they are doing, to achieve that same goal. So just wanted to see if anybody else had any thoughts on
I
that.
I think, and I couldn't get to the screen quick enough. um, I do definitely judge vices. I'm a judgmental person in general, and I'm equally as judgmental of the rest of the world as I am myself. But perfect example is like my mom was a drug addict, and I have very little to no empathy for people who have substance abuse issues. Um, I was jokingly in my head when you and Princess were kind of noting that the boundaries were the difference um, in a vice or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, if my mom, who uh, to me is still a crackhead, I don't know if she's fully clean, but in my mind, that is who she is, right? Because that's what I knew the majority of my life. But if she's like, oh, I just only smoke once a year now, in my head, I'm like, there is no boundary, it's crack. But I'm extremely judgmental and very lacking in empathy when people have like substance abuse issues and things of that nature. Um, it's very hard for me to comprehend that. But then also to speak to, I believe it was it Marcus that was saying something about oh dear, I just had a brain fart. Um, just I literally lost my train of thinking because I was trying to remember his name. But either way, I'm just yeah, it's just something I can't I just can't see and I can't even attempt to understand. So yeah, it's a big issue.
Brother Chris is down in the audience. I try to get him on the stage to speak because I know he got a lot to say, but he actually made a post on his social media the other day, and he was talking about judging people, and I forget what the caption said because I was just trying to. I almost dropped my phone just trying to get in the comments to reply. Chris, I do want to apologize. I didn't even read your whole caption. I just saw what the subject was about, and I wanted to come in and drop my 2 cents. And what I said was, I think that we all, as humans, we judge each other. And I think that people that do not judge the next have no standards, no principles. Standards and principles are what we all have internally as human beings, as adults. That's our foundation, right? And so when we see other people going against what we consider to be near and dear, what we hold in principle, we're going to judge them for it. And so I hate the negative connotation about the word judge, just like I hate the negative connotation about the word vice, because I think it is natural for us to judge the next person for some of the things that they do.
So I'm gonna hop in here. I think it looks like brother Chris raised his hand, so I'm hoping he's ready to speak. I just wanted to make sure I held the spot for him.
Hello.
Here he is.
Yeah. What's good with you, Holly?
Oh, what's good, bro? I was over here trying to get you the mic,
Yeah.
but I don't know what was going on. Okay,
Oh
what's
no.
going
What I
on,
had wrote
bro?
was how everybody doing. But how what I wrote was talking about the judgmental thing. It seemed like people always say you judgmental when you say things they don't like. Like I had this lady friend, she's pretty, platonic, and we used to talk. We got kind of close, and I used to always give her like, a lot of positive affirmation, and we talk and stuff, and I would say a lot of good things to her. But we kind of stopped talking because when she was telling me things, I was telling her my opinion of it, and she didn't like it. So she like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stop talking to you because you judgmental. But I said, but you weren't saying that when I was giving you all them good compliments and stuff. You did, you never heard nobody say anything about somebody being judgmental when they saying something you want to hear or you like to hear. The thing was, is it only judgmental when it's bad? So if I'm judging you and it's of a positive thing that you like and I like, so is that judging too, or is it only when it's bad? So that's what the
Mm,
whole situation was, and I've realized that people don't never, they only say you judgmental when you don't coddle them, when you don't enable their bullshit. If you try to tell them the realness, no matter how you say it, then it become a judgmental thing. Or if you come to me about a situation, I'm like, well, if I say, well, I don't think that's a good, if I say, well, yeah, I agree with you, that's a good thing. You ain't gonna say, oh, well, Chris is judgmental, I'm gonna stop talking to him. I was telling the jokers about it. I said, you can sit somebody down, and if you say nothing but good things about them, they'll never stop you. You'll just sit there and y'all both just die because you'll just go just months just telling them good things. They'll never stop you. It only become a judgmental thing is when they don't like it. So that's what the whole situation is. But I think we all judge. We judge everything. Like we in a culture of where hey, well, I'm gonna cut you off, or I want my piece. Well, you only cutting off people that you judging, negatively, right? You're not gonna cut off nobody that you like or y'all agree with, or you in views with, or like, hey, we go out to eat. Hey, if you judge this restaurant good, you'll go back. You judge that restaurant bad, you're not gonna go back, or you'll tell others that, hey, don't go there. So I just think that whole judgmental stuff is just some honestly some crocker shit because it's not, you not being fair. It's not being transparent. So that's what the whole situation was. And I'm one of them people like, hey, if you're doing good, I'm gonna tell you you're doing good. If you're doing bad, I'm gonna tell you you're doing bad. And I want people to do the same. But I've only realized that people who say that judgmental thing is usually people that's probably sensitive or going through things or want you to just enable their bad behavior. Because if you're gonna come to me about some bullshit and I agree with you, you ain't gonna say that. So that was the whole situation of that. And I appreciate the platform, and I agree with y'all saying what y'all doing and everything. So, but I'm gonna get this workout in. But I just wanted to put that in because Holly called me out on there. So
yeah,
y'all have a
right
good
on.
day. But I'll still be listening. I'm gonna go work out.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother Chris.
Oh yeah,
I
no doubt,
agree. I
man.
don't know if anybody else agrees. That's not something that I've ever thought about. But when we thinking about judging, the whole concept of judging is assessing a situation, right? Assessing the situation, drawing your final conclusion on it, and then taking action from there. I mean, which way am I going to move? Am I going to move right or am I going to move left? with this person, but we all assess situations, and that's no different. That's the same thing by definition. That's judging. So, like Chris said, people only speak about, I don't like you to be judgmental, or I don't prefer judgmental people around me when it's something negative, right? But if positive affirmations or positive things that you might point out directly, that's still judging. Is that not still judging? Would anybody disagree with that?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's real interesting when we start having these conversations because, and Prince, as you know this, because I talk about it all the time. I do think, as a society, like just the human population, we misuse words all the fucking time. Like there's we don't use words according to their original definitions, and sometimes the way that we use words just in common everyday usage, it becomes a sort of a newer definition or connotation centered around these words. So I think that that's kind of the same thing that's happened with the word vice. The same thing has happened with the word judge. Because when I read the definition of vice, is nothing in here that jumps out where it's like this is specifically the way that we as a society use the word. It talks about the word in a completely different manner. And then I think that with judging, the word judge, I mean, like I said, I think judging is no different than just assessing a situation. So whether you assess that situation in a positive or a negative manner, it's still judging.
Yeah. I want to unpack this concept of judging. I told myself I wasn't gonna do this because I hopped off late, but I kind of want to unpack this a little bit if y'all will bear with me. So I know everybody, not everybody's a Christian, but like I mentioned on a previous unpacking, we all live by a code. So I just invite everybody to at least hear me out when I'm talking about biblical verses because I do believe that the Bible speaks on principles and code. And when I think about the biblical interpretation of judge, right? One of the famous scriptures is "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." And there's more to that, but my interpretation, whenever I've read scriptures about judging in the Bible, is not necessarily about don't draw conclusions or don't state facts about someone. But rather, it means don't write someone off and lose hope or faith of redemption for them. So, that's just kind of my interpretation and definition of spiritual judgment and what the Bible is instructing us not to do. But I certainly don't feel as if there's anything wrong with seeing truths or facts. And so I don't really know what was meant by the subject title of Don't Judge My Vices. But I kind of took it as, don't write me off because of my vices. That's kind of how I read that. And so maybe separating that definition of spiritual judgment versus the literal, secular, intellectual, I don't know what else to call it, the written definition that we use in common terms of judging, that literally is to, assess a situation and have a conclusion or an outcome. And so I guess I would like to pose a question to everyone here. Do we feel like we might be kind of misinterpreting what judging really is? Because if judging is wrong, why do we believe in a court system? If judging is truly wrong, why do we allow so many entities to create incarcerated structures for people to go to? I just need to
That's why I've
understand.
always, I mean, and I agree with you 1,000%. I think that the biblical reference is speaking more to giving up on somebody, drawing a conclusion where you write them off, right? Like Miss Amira spoke about her mom being a drug addict. My parents were also both drug addicts, right? So I think that the biblical reference is saying, a person who is one way today may not necessarily be that way tomorrow. So who are you to judge how their future is going to be? I think that's what the biblical reference is referring to. But I think what happens is like what Chris talked about, somebody can think that you're judgmental just from pointing out facts from giving them healthy advice. For instance, if you do meet somebody that still struggles with hypersexuality, if you're trying to talk them out of that, they might think you're judging them for it. They're going to say that. Somebody that struggles with a healthy diet, if you get on their case too much, they're going to feel like you're judging them. But like you said, Princess, we have to find a way as a society, as a community, to separate what those references are. Because I think that when people say, "Hey, you're not supposed to judge the next person," they're speaking to the biblical reference. But when what they're calling judging is not the biblical references. Like Chris said, like you said, pointing out facts shouldn't be considered judging from the biblical standpoint, which is something that you're not supposed to do. I think that's what the point that you were making. If so, that I agree with it. Did anybody else want to chime in on that? On the way that we use the term judging? Have you found yourself maybe having some of those same natural habits? Okay, well, good stuff, man. I'm looking at the time. We right at around 7 o'clock, so we've had a good, healthy conversation for about an hour or so. I want to thank everybody for tapping in with us tonight. We always appreciate these dialogues, these conversations. Make sure you tune in to the next episode. Episode 10 will be featuring the sisters. Princess, I don't know if you want to give away the subject or the topic just yet, but I'll give you the floor if so. But make sure that y'all tune in for the sisters episode, which will be on YouTube, Spotify, and all of the streaming platforms. That'll be the next time that you hear from us on the Blacked Out Couch. And then, of course, the week after that airs, we will be here on Clubhouse again doing an unpacking of that episode. Princess, do you know what the new date of y'all's episode is? Because I don't have that in front of me.
I want to say that the new date should be airing on the 28th tentatively. And the topic is going to be Token, Trophy, or Virtuous, diving into how women create their principles and whether they're driven by mental pressures, peer pressures, or really just cornerstones to who the woman is and how that impacts mental wellness.
Right on. Right on. I'm looking at the calendar. That's why I paused. The date is actually on the 5th,
There we go.
October 5th.
October 5th.
So episode 10 will be airing on the 5th. We will be on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all of the streaming platforms. And then we'll be back on Clubhouse the week after that on the 12th to unpack their episode. So if y'all don't have anything else, again, I want to thank everybody for tapping in with us tonight. As always, peace, love, and blessings. And I hope we heal. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Good night.
Right on.